Hi everyone, thank you for joining me. This is the tutorial video for the testing for the bilingual assessment project specifically. So the first thing that you want to do when starting to learn how to test is you want to go through the tester manual. So this document is going to be a great resource for you. It's the one that you should reference when you have any doubts. And I always recommend that you print out a copy of it if you're able to. It saves a lot of time and it proves incredibly useful, especially for those first couple of sessions. And the way you can find this is so you go to the general drive, then you go over to projects, then bilingual assessment, then testers, and here you'll find the tester manual. So that's where you'll find that. And then after you review that, especially their first session right here, the preliminaries, then what you want to do is you want to go to the tester materials for download folder. And this is, again, this testers folder. You're going to click on that, and you're going to download all these files that you're going to need. So you're going to want these to be on your computer because if you use them directly, it could definitely mess up the audio. So we want everything to be local. It also makes things much easier for you for reasons you'll see in just a moment. So you're going to download all of this. These are all the tests that we administer. So we'll start here, and you want to download, from here you want to download the PowerPoints. So you download PowerPoint, other PowerPoint, then you go back and do that for all of them. And then for this morphosyntax, you're also going to need to download the anagrams. And you can check out what the anagram is in the tester manual as well. But the point is that you're going to want to download these as well as the PowerPoints. All right, and you're going to go back. You're going to do the same for the lexicosemantics, just the two PowerPoints. And then the background assessments. And then here you're going to want to download the MOCA score sheet as well. Then you're going to go back and you're going to download these updated score sheets for all the assessments. So you want to download each one of them. Okay, so after that, what you want to do is you want to go to your own documents and you want to start a folder for all the information. So you can call it aphasia lab or however is easiest for you. And then this is the way that I organize it. You can organize it whichever way is preferable for you, but for me, this just makes sense. So what I'll do is I'll start a folder called Spanish PowerPoints. Then I'll do another one for the Spanish score sheets. Then I'll do another one for the English PowerPoints and another one for the English score sheets. I'm also going to start a folder called participants, and I'll show you why in just a moment. So first, what we want to do is obviously fill these with what we just downloaded. So we'll go to downloads and then all the English PowerPoints. So we have the morphosyntax English, the QAB English, and then we have the lexicosemantics English. So I'm going to copy those and I'm going to paste them into the English PowerPoints. So we have all those in there. And then I'm going to do the same with the Spanish. So you have the QAB Spanish, morphosyntax Spanish, and the lexicosemantics Spanish. So I'm going to copy those, and then I'm going to put them in here in the Spanish PowerPoints. And there we have that. And then now for the score sheets and also the background assessments, what I usually do is I'll put them outside of the folders. So I'll copy that. And then I'm just going to put them out here so that they're easily accessible. So we go back to downloads and then I'm going to work with the score sheets. So we'll do the English score sheets and we'll put them all in the English score sheets folder. And for the Spanish score sheets, we'll put them all in the Spanish score sheets folder. So I'm going to copy that. And then we went and did that. And then we also want to remember to put the anagrams in there. So again, the anagram are these, you're going to have to unzip them. So you can say extract all, and then make sure that you're putting them in the right place. So this is the Spanish anagram. So you want to put these in the Spanish score sheets to extract that. And then you have the English anagram, and you want to extract that into the English score sheets. So then now when you go in there, they should be in there. There we go. All right, so now you have everything downloaded. And at this point, you are ready to hypothetically start a testing session. Of course, before you actually start testing, you're going to want to practice and watch videos such as this one, and you can also watch testing recordings in order to get more familiar with it. And where you can find this recordings is in the testers folder, the same one we were going to earlier. You go to data, and there's a folder called testing recordings. And these are all divided by participant, but basically you can just click on a random one and watch these videos of us administering the testing. So now let's say there's someone signed up for testing during your time slot. So here, for example, this is my time slot for testing and somebody signed up for that time. What do I do? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the bilingual assessment contact form. And you can find this again in the testers folder. When you go to participant info, that's where that is. So I'm going to go over to that form, and usually this will be full of names. I blocked it out for anonymity, confidentiality. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to search the name of the person that is in the calendar. So in this case, it was Jane. So I'll say Jane, and there she is. So here I see that her participant code is BN088. So at that point, you're wondering, right, is this somebody that we've tested before? Are they in the middle of testing? Or is this somebody that has never tested before? And it's important to know this so that we don't redo any of the testing and, we don't waste their time or our time. So at this point, what you would do is you would head over to the progress notes. And here I bookmark them, but you can also find them again in the bilingual drive when you go to project coordinators, and then you go to project planning and notes, and that's where the progress notes are at. So then at that point, I would Control F for the participant code. Why? Because the progress notes right here is the document where, among other things, we update the progress of all the participants so that everyone is up to date on how far each person has gotten. So I'm going to look for BN088. All right, so there's nothing for them. So it looks like they haven't completed any sessions yet. If they had, it would look a little something more like this. So BN092, for example, has completed some of these things. And then if I was testing this person, then I would adjust what I'm going to do during the session accordingly. But now we know that this person hasn't had any testing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a folder for them. So I'm going to go back to my documents, Aphasia Lab, and this is where the participants folder comes in. So here I'm going to start a new folder so I can keep the score sheets for that participant. It's going to be called BN088. So depending on which language we're starting with, and when you're testing, you'll know which language we're starting with because it will be updated in the progress notes. So we usually alternate starting between Spanish and English just so that we have roughly the same amount of data at all times in each language. So here, let's say this month we're starting with Spanish. So what I'm going to do, and you can reference the tester manual for the order and, where you go, but I'm going to go to the score sheets. Let's see, we're starting with Spanish. So I'm going to take these score sheets and I'm going to make copies of them. And I'm going to paste them into the participant folder. So now I have these copies, but again, I want these to be with the participants sheets. So I'm just going to say BN088. I'm going to get rid of that. Again, BN088. And again, BN088. And so here I have all the score sheets that I need for that participant for that session. Now, at some point, you're going to be doing background assessments as well. So you might need to make a copy of the MOCA. In that case, you would copy and paste that onto there as well. And of course, you would add the participant number. So here it would be BN088 MOCA. And that's where you'd have everything. So now it would come to actually going through the session. And of course, before you do the session, you want to make sure that the person knows, the person has your Zoom link and that you've scheduled a meeting, right? So how do you do this? You want to send out your Zoom link through the bilingual group email. So you should have access to this email. The way that you access it is going through here, Google Apps, you go down to groups, and here it is for me, bilingual. So I'm going to click on that. And then in order to contact somebody, I'll click on the new conversation button, and then I send it to them through here. So let's say, for example, it's Jane again. So we have that. And then the subject is going to be, Zoom link for testing, and then whatever date it is. So let's say 10/4 at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And then we also have templates for this, so you can look up here, what have people sent before? So for example, here, I would take it and say, here we go, okay. So thank you for your interest in the bilingual study, so on and so forth. And I would change this accordingly. So instead of this, it would go Wednesday, 10/4 at 11 a.m. And then you would put your own Zoom link and add those things. And then for the first one, you do want to add the consent form. So again, here, and you can find the consent form if you go on the drive and you just look up consent. And then you'll get, in this case, it would be neurotypical bilingual, but whichever one applies. And you want to make sure you get the most updated one. So you would send a copy of that in the email. You would attach a copy of that to there. And then you would hit post message and that would send.